Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrac and Kole. This podcast is a conversation between two business partners, Joanne Kandrac and Kelly Kole. Join us for a lively conversation about all things interior design, from current projects, trade show experiences, worldwide travel, what's in, what's out, and all the challenges and wins they've had running their successful design business. Whether you're a seasoned interior designer, new to the industry, or a creative enthusiast, you will walk away with insightful information, newfound inspiration, and a smile on your face after listening to these two. And here they are, Joanne and Kelly.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrac and Kole. This is Joanne Kandrac, and this is our very first episode of 2024. So
Yay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes. So today we have a really, really fun episode. We were strolling Instagram and something kept popping up. It was called the Aspire Summit, which was a advertisement for a 2-day seminar conference aimed at entrepreneurs. It had some amazing guest speakers and it was all about how to grow financially, personally, and professionally. So this was something that did not have interior design.
It wasn't a design event.
Yeah, it wasn't. So we found out Sarah Blakely was speaking. So that was it. That's it. Yep. We're signing
We're
up.
in.
Yep. So the founders of this summit, and they've only done it for about a year and a half, and we'll tell you more about these people, is Andrew Cordell, Eddie Wilson, and Dan Fleischman. And they're all investors. They have an impressive resume of all this financial expertise and influence in the business world. So they got together to create this summit to help other people on their entrepreneurial journey and to share what they've learned with other people.
So Andrew started out in real estate investment, and get this, he flipped 177 homes in 1 year. Was it that high?
Yes.
That's crazy. Yes. And the guy's only 36 years old. And I want to say his net worth is already over 450 million. So he's become one of the top thought leaders in financial literacy in business. And he was fascinating to listen to. It was big money talk, but you could still pull away some nuggets.
There's some
for sure. It was
that
fantastic.
You could definitely take away from it.
And then the other guy in the trio was Eddie Wilson. He has owned over 125 companies. He sold, I want to say 90 of them. Yeah, he exited 90 of them, but he currently still manages a whole bunch of companies, over 6,000 employees. He's super, super impressive guy.
Yeah. And then the third guy is Dan Fleischman. So these are like buddies who got together that said, it would be really great if we could go out and do this for other people. So this guy has a really impressive resume. He's an angel investor. Okay. He's the youngest founder of a publicly owned company or a publicly traded company in history. So at 23 years old, oh my God, after selling $15 million worth of clothing in 6 department stores, he got a $9.5 million deal with Starter Apparel.
Crazy.
So the other thing about all of these people, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, is they're giving back. And Dan Fleischman, he's pretty amazing.
Yep.
He initiated the world's largest toy drive and is actually in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yes.
So it's in its 10th year.
Yep.
And he has a podcast called Money Mondays, where he talks about how to make money, how to preserve it, and how to give it. And I love that mantra.
Totally amazing. So the speakers were impressive. And we're not going to talk about all of them.
There's just too many. Yeah.
There's just too many for the length of our podcast. But the people that were there were Kevin Hart, who you all know is a very famous actor, comedian. Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod. Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank. Marcus Lemonis, he has a show called The Profit on CNBC. Jesse Itzler, who is an amazing speaker. He's an endurance athlete. He's married to Sarah Blakely. And then our girl, Sarah Blakely, who is the founder of Spanx. Every woman in America knows who Sarah Blakely is. And then Tim Story, Tim Grover, and Clinton Sparks. I mean, and there was even more.
Well, you know what? Those last three names, I mean, maybe some of you know them, but I didn't know who they were. And you have to say to yourself, why are they on the stage with all these other people? And then you we
Yeah.
totally saw why.
Yeah. We'd go to want to like take a break, and then they'd start talking. We're like, oh my God, we can't get up. We got to sit here. This is amazing.
Yeah. So the first speaker, because we weren't sure, like it was a 2-day thing and they didn't give you the agenda. So you didn't know who was coming up next. So the first speaker was Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank. I mean, he is known for being the mean guy and whatever else, but he really, really impressed me.
Yes.
So, and Kelly was very good about taking notes because, you know, it's one of those things where you want to be listening, but you want to remember. So thank God she did, because I was so busy listening that I didn't take a notes, but she did.
And you should seriously, everybody, take notes on this episode. We're going to give you a lot of quotes and nuggets that these people said. And I think that they require serious digestion. Like you have to think about all these little nuggets that they said and really kind of just think about it in the shower, on your drive, what have you. For example, Kevin O'Leary, one of the things he started out saying was, if you want to change a life, create a job for a person. This is the beauty of being an entrepreneur.
And I really love that.
That goes right to my soul. I mean, if you really want to change a life, create a job for a person. And we are in that unique position.
He came from very small means.
Yes.
He was brought up to not be entitled. So he worked really, really hard. And I think when he appears mean on the show, it's just because he cares so much, and he wants you to really understand and know your business that he'd be willing to invest in it. So anyway.
And one other thing that he's doing is he's got businesses, you know, all over the place. And he is currently using AI to communicate with his audience when he's trying to sell a business or attract investors or what have you. He's using AI to sell his business ideas in 42 languages. And he said he used to spend, if he was going to do this in the past, he'd spend like $250 to get it like perfectly dubbed, and they'd have to, you know, his mouth would have to move in a certain way. And now with AI technology, it costs like $2,800.
I thought it was 28,000.
28.
I think
was it 28,000?
He said
28,000
would have been like 250,000.
Yeah.
But he showed himself on the screen talking
in Arabic, I want to say,
in that voice, and it
was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, what a brilliant idea. If you're a global entrepreneur and you're trying to, you know, communicate with your audience, you need to be speaking their language.
Yep. And AI, he's talking about it. I mean, these people are forward thinkers. So I know we all need to get in the bandwagon.
We do.
But you might want to take notes of these 3 great attributes of entrepreneurs that he says.
Yep.
And you will notice this if you watch Shark Tank, because this is how he looks at these people. Are you able to articulate what you sell or do in 90 seconds or less? And they always tell you, elevator pitch, work on that. Second, are you able to successfully convince your audience or client that they have the right team to execute what they sell or do, and know your financials and have a comprehensive understanding of the business model and can communicate that effectively when drilled with questions? Because you've seen them drill people on Shark Tank and they're like, you're out. I'm out.
Yeah. Exactly. But think about it. Like, could we, like, what's our elevator pitch? Like, what, you know, what would we say? And how would we, if we were up giving a big presentation up against the top designers in the country, we would really have to have those 3 things nailed down. So, I just thought those were amazing. And that was just, I mean, you guys, some of these guys were on stage for an hour.
Yeah.
This was a 2-day. We got there at 8 and it didn't end until 6. So there was so much, but we're just giving you little nuggets.
Yeah. It was so captivating that, I mean, you've gone to different seminars and different things, and you're kind of like, they're talking, and we were glued.
I was so tired when it was over. My brain was fried.
Yeah. So we got to get going, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next up was Marcus Lemonis. I never heard of this guy. And we were riveted by his presentation.
When I saw his picture on the list of people, I'm like, I know him, but I don't know what it was from. So it was from The Prophet, that reality show. And I think he's got another show called The Fixer. So another one. His story was really amazing. He was in an orphanage. His mother left him there.
In Lebanon.
He was adopted by a couple from Miami. And he Well,
just has done big things.
Yeah, he's now the CEO of several companies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, he's the star of The Prophet.
And if you haven't heard the news, the latest and greatest is that he is now the chairman of the board of Beyond, which is Bed Bath and Beyond, Overstock.
Yeah.
That's
thank you, Business of Home, for that information.
Thank you, Business of Home. That needs some help right now. So Marcus, come on, we're excited
help us
for
out.
you. Yeah.
And then the one that I love too, it is a privilege, not a right, to have your own business in the U.S.
Yeah. I mean, you think, oh, well, this is the land of opportunity. This is the United States. Of course I can run a business. People, it's still a privilege that we get to start our own business and succeed and provide for our families with that business. It's a privilege, not a right. And I think that's an amazing thing. The other thing that he said that is another one of these digestible ones is be curious, not critical. So when you're meeting and you're speaking to other people and they have a different point of view, they come from a different culture, at first glance or first meeting, you don't really agree with them. Be curious, not critical, and it will make you a better person. And just remember, this whole tour is, we talked a lot about financial success, but also professional and spiritual success. And so a lot of great points.
And it really takes the whole, they're millionaires, they're billionaires, they're people.
And most of them started from very meager
I
places.
would say, I think almost every
I think they all did.
I think they all came from, they weren't born into wealth.
No, I don't think a single one of them was.
No, I don't either. So, and they say your personality doesn't really change whether, you make $50,000 a year or you make 50 million. It shouldn't. You are like who you are. And they were all deep down really good workers and very hard workers.
Oh,
that's the other thing.
Sure.
I mean, you're not
so
just
successful. Yeah.
All right. So Jesse Itzler, you guys,
our favorite of the entire tour.
His speech will literally stay with me forever.
Yes.
There's no way that we can probably explain it to you through this, but
look him up. We're trying to get him on the podcast. So Jesse, if you're listening, honey, you're in Atlanta. Come on, 30 minutes. Come talk to us.
He just said so many great things.
So let's, I mean, his resume is really interesting. So he is Sarah Blakely's husband. But he's an endurance athlete, like amazing. Like when Sarah had started dating him, he had just run 100 miles without stopping. Okay. And that was a whole story that he told about how he got to the end of that 100 miles. It was so amazing. He is part owner of the Atlanta Hawks. He's a business and life coach. His energy is amazing. He's the author of Living with a SEAL, a Navy SEAL best-selling book. He is the creator of the Big Ass Calendar, which arrives today in our office and will be up on the wall. And we will talk about that in just a second. We are so excited. But the one thing that stuck to me, I mean, so many things, but one thing that he said over and over again, he spent a lot of time talking about his dad growing up. And he said his dad was a billionaire. He opened up saying his dad was a billionaire. But what you learn through his conversations on stage were his dad was a spiritual billionaire. And he said, you know what? You can have $1 billion, but if you don't have it right on the heart, spiritual soul side, $1 billion times 0 is 0. So if you don't have that, you got nothing. And that stuck with me.
Well, his dad owned a plumbing supply company, but he said his family was the most important thing. And the same kind of thing. He may not have had the $1 billion, but he had the $1 billion in spiritual and his priorities. So $1 billion times 1 is $1 billion.
Yeah.
Just
take it in and think about it, So, I mean, he lit up the stage. He's crazy.
He had a DJ with him up there.
Yeah.
And as he's telling stories, he's got music that kind of fits in with it. So it was really, really entertaining.
Dynamic. Yeah, it was.
And he's, back and forth on the stage. And, they have 4 kids, him and Sarah. And
they didn't get married until they were in their early 40s and late. They got married very late in life and had 4 babies real quick.
Yes. Yeah. And he does the whole thing. We don't have time to talk about it, but he does a whole thing about talking his son and wanting to start wanting to start baseball, and he just tells the whole story of it, and it was so amazing.
so
He's
amazing.
a really cool guy, and one of the things that he said, when he was talking about business, and I love this too, you are one meeting, one idea, one referral from changing the trajectory of your life, and I think that is so true.
Yes, he talked about several of the multi-billionaire, millionaire, life-changing people that you think of, like whether it be Steve Jobs or Warren Buffett. And, a lot of those people got really, really wealthy on it was one idea, it was one thing. It wasn't, a million things. So, but that was interesting. And he said that if you want an exceptional life, you need to put yourself in exceptional circumstances. So likewise, when you have a chance to make a memory or a moment, you need to take it. And, I think that is so true, because you've got to put yourself out there to have these moments and be brave. And all the speakers, like Marcus talked a little bit about, when you get to the ledge and you look over, don't let the gripping fear or your feelings, stop you. You've got to put yourself out there to have these exceptional moments, to have an exceptional life.
They all have that same trait.
Yes.
And you have to take risks. You have to believe in yourself. And that's, that's what they all had. And so even though they have made massive amounts of money, at the end of the day, it's really not about the money.
Mm-hmm.
They have a passion for something. They either want to help others. They want to do good in the world.
Yes.
So, I love that message.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sarah Blakely came after Jesse.
But wait, the funny thing was, when he stood up there, and I think he was getting ready to introduce her.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I married her.
Yeah.
I married her." It was so cute.
It was so great. So if you don't know if you're living under a rock and you don't know who Sarah Blakely is, Forbes named her the youngest self-made female billionaire after using, keep in mind, $5,000 in her savings account to start the fashion brand Spanx, which every woman in America should know what Spanx is and own a pair or two or three. Time magazine named her one of the most 100 influential people in the world. She's a rock star.
She is.
And she's 50.
She might have just turned 50 recently.
Yeah.
She's so relatable. And she's just, if you don't follow her on Instagram, you really need to.
Yes. She's awesome. And so is Jesse on Instagram.
Yes.
Follow him too.
Yeah. She's so real on there. She's just out there with everything. And her motto is, and it's so funny because, well, I'll tell you her motto. It's the more you experience in life, the more you have to offer others. And that's really so true.
No wonder she and Jesse are married.
Yes.
They're the perfect combo.
So he said that they were at an event together and they were talking with somebody pretty famous. And he said, Sarah, go ahead and tell them your motto. And she said, she froze. She's like, oh my God, I don't remember my motto. So he went and had a sign, like a neon sign made for her that he put above their sofa that said, I have a motto. I just can't remember it.
All lit up. Like she went on vacation. She got back with a sign.
Yeah. So great.
It's hilarious. So many nuggets for her. One thing that she talked about, which we need to do, and we're taking so much of this for 2024, you guys.
This is a great idea.
She was so overwhelmed. Her company was getting bigger and she was getting pulled in all different directions, investors and products and whatever, that she decided, okay, I'm going crazy here. I'm gonna bucket my days. Okay, you got to talk about the other thing because that's another thing. Mm-hmm. She said so many good things. I'm going to bucket my days. So she has, say Monday is all of her team meetings. Tuesday is maybe her product development days. Wednesday is where she just is closed up in her office returning emails and nobody can talk to her. So she buckets her days, which we really need to do because we run around like monkeys sometimes.
There's days that I've got like five things coming at me. We're working on 5 projects and everybody needs an answer. And I feel like I need like 5 monitors and I can't even think straight.
Yeah. And so I think we need to learn that not everybody needs a response within 5.2 seconds. They've come to know us for that and it's very nice. But at the same time, sometimes we just want to
we put a little too much pressure on ourselves.
Yeah. We're ready to jump overboard because we're putting too much pressure on ourselves. But the other thing that she said
Is visualizing.
No, about she said, if you this is key for entrepreneurs. Determine your weaknesses.
Oh, okay.
Determine your weaknesses, and then when you can afford it, soon as you can afford it, hire somebody. If they can do whatever task or skill set that you're looking for that you're weak in, at least 80%, hire that person and let it go. And I thought that was really amazing, because I would have been like, well, 80%, that's not really good enough. I mean, I'm not going to let somebody do it if they're only 80%.
Well,
but
she learned that she can't do everything.
yeah, I mean, and people can grow and get better, and but if you hire that person and they can at least take a huge monkey off your back and complete that at an 80% skill set, and you're weak at it anyway, so what do you care?
But another thing that she said, and if you've ever seen her speak, or she talks a lot about failure.
Yeah.
And her father was an attorney, and she has a brother. And at the dinner table, he would ask them, "What did you fail at today?" Because his idea was that if you didn't fail at something, that means you didn't try something that you might have. And so she's like, we felt the pressure to be able to say something at the dinner table. And so she just said that, failing just became a part of her. She just figured, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? And I think the more you do it and you fail and you feel like, okay,
well, what you learn from that?
I didn't die, and I learned something from it. And then the other thing that she said is she visualized. She pretended like she was this character in this movie, and she would visualize what she wanted. And so she said, visualize the next scene in your movie or chapter in your life. Allow yourself to daydream, then vocalize that to the universe and ask the universe to send you signs and signals.
I believe that 1,000%. Some people might say, well, that's but I totally believe in that. But visualizing. And she says, sometimes I just, you got to take time to daydream and think, let your brain wander, and then vocalize it to the universe. Say it out loud, what you want, say it out loud, and then just see how the universe responds to that. I'm telling you, people, this stuff works. I'm serious.
And the other thing that we love about her is, you get to a certain level and you have a lot of money. And so every year she surprises her girlfriend, some that she's had since like grade school.
Yep.
And she doesn't tell them where they're going. She just tells them what they need what kind of clothes to pack, and whether or not they're going to need a passport. And then she surprises them, and they go on this amazing trip
every year.
She's giving back. I mean, she's
a big giver backer. But she did say, she said, make sure you take quiet time with yourself and really talk to yourself about what money means to you. I think in America, we're all on this gerbil wheel to make the most money we can and to live these huge lives. And it might not, for what? What does money mean to you? I mean, really think about your family, your goals, what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable. Are you killing yourself for no reason? Are you, or are you not working hard enough, and you're not getting to where you need to be because you're not, being smart with your money? And I thought that was,
maybe you want to create jobs, maybe you want to pay off your parents' house. I mean, it's nice to know why do you want the money? Yeah. And I think then that really helps you to move and go for it.
Yeah. Isn't that a lot?
Yeah.
Are you tired yet? I mean, I hope you guys are taking notes, because I wrote everything down in this little black leather, notebook that they gave us. And I have to keep looking at it and like I said, digesting over time, all these little words of wisdom.
Yeah. Well, the very last speaker, I mean, we're going to go through a couple more, but they saved Kevin Hart till the end. And the crowd went nuts when he came out. But what was so funny, he didn't tell one joke. I mean,
he was very serious.
He was very serious. And he's another one who just had so much forethought, and he wants his legacy to go on and to help other people. So he owns the LOL network.
Yep.
It's the #1 streaming comedy network. Heartbeat Productions is what he owns, and he started that in 2009.
A long time ago.
Yep. And he's only 44.
I mean, he's achieved massive success at such a young age.
Yep.
And now he has Heartbeat Ventures, which is a venture capital firm where he looks to invest in companies that focus on media, technology and lifestyle, and he really leans towards companies that don't have access to funds. And so he's kind of like a mini Kevin O'Leary, or a big Kevin O'Leary.
Yeah.
He's just doing amazing things and giving back. And I just don't know how he does it all. But one thing that he said that stuck with me is success is a journey, and the journey is your story, and your story is what makes you interesting. So embrace the beginning. Right? We all think that maybe the beginning is the ugly part, or is like where we're not good enough or whatever, but it's your journey. And all these people had the most amazing stories.
Yes.
That's what makes them so interesting.
We're thinking too much about the end goal.
Yes.
Rather than the journey. And it's hard to, to kind of think about that, but they all, right, their story and everything, every mistake, every failure, every risk created something or brought them to where they are. So embrace that journey. Just don't be afraid to start. They started.
Yep.
So
he was, and what's funny was he was the big draw. People went bananas, but I have to say, to be honest, I enjoyed some of the other speakers a lot more.
Yeah.
Not that he was bad or anything at all, but some of these,
everybody has, kind of like a different style. Jesse was all over the stage. Marcus Lemonis, he was out in the crowd the whole time.
Yeah.
Just and asking people stuff and working off the crowd. Sarah Blakely, was sitting at a chair, like it was a panel. It was more like an interview. So it was all really, really good.
Yep.
And everybody had their own different things. So Tim Grover.
Yep.
This is one of the ones
I didn't know who he was.
I never knew who he was. He's world renowned for his work with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, and elite champions, where he works with them on the science and art of mental and physical dominance and achieving excellence. So he has coached these people.
Oh, he had the best stories.
And he just, same thing, just captivated. We were just looking up at him like everything that he said, and he was mesmerizing.
Yeah. One thing that he said over and over again is that being broken is a gift. And he told lots of stories just about broken, whether you had a broken beginning, if you had just a tragedy or a trauma in your childhood or sometime in your life where you hit rock bottom. But being broken is a gift because it gives people resilience. It gives people that energy to do better and be better and change. And it's not a bad thing. Embrace it. Just like Kevin said, it's part of your story and it's part of your journey. And a lot of these, all these little nuggets were being intertwined over the last 2 days or the course of the 2 days of this event. But that was something that really stuck with me.
Yeah. And he did say most people, and I believe this, most people are afraid of success and what it brings them.
Yeah.
And
if you were really to sit down and daydream and put out to the universe like your biggest, hugest dreams, like Sarah said, and they came true, like, could you handle it?
Yeah.
Like, does it scare you? And why does it scare you?
Right. How will people treat you differently? Will your friends treat you differently? Like, do you want people to still like you for you? Or, it really kind of changes the dynamic of your life.
Yes.
And so you have to be willing to
embrace that and deal with it.
Deal with it.
Yep.
And I think that's why a lot of them give back because, they may feel somewhat selfish. But I think if you look at it and how you can help others, I think it's a whole different mindset.
The other thing that he was saying about working with Michael Jordan and Kobe and some of these seriously amazing champions is that his mentality towards them, or what he tried to drill into them, was you want to practice so hard that the games are easy. And if you really digest that for your personal life and your business, I interpret that like, okay, for us in preparing a design, working and putting together the most incredible design that we have for our clients and really feeling so good about it, that when we get to presentation day, that's a cakewalk. Yeah. That's just, we're waiting for them to stroke a check because we put so much work into it and we know it's so good.
Yep.
And that we're not worried about them not liking it and approving
And
it.
if you're not, and you know that, if you're not prepared, you don't appear confident and you're kind of trudging through, where if you know it so well, it's so smooth.
Yeah.
You got to put the work in though, people.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was really, really interesting. And then, are you still with us? Because this is a lot. So then
I think he's our last. I think he might be our last
we
guy.
got Dan and we got
No,
Andrew
we
still
got
coming
two.
up. Okay,
Oh,
hang on
geez.
for 2. We're going over our 30 minutes today.
Okay.
Sorry, Ross. But it was so good, you guys. And it's so good for the new year to like get these kind of like great pep talks, right? But so Dan Fleischman, one of the founders, the toy drive king of kings, right? So he gets back on the stage and he talks about branding. And I loved what he said. It's so appealed to the two of us. He was saying, perfect is not relatable. Perfect is not relatable in terms of mostly, think about social media.
And it's so true. I mean, we hear this every time we go to a conference. You have to be genuine. You have to be able to show your true self. That's what people want. But that's just the thing. And that's our problem is we don't feel like we can be, we want to be too perfect. We don't want to be. And so he said, you'll get better engagement. Why do you think TikTok is so popular? I mean, people come up there and they're just letting it out. Yeah. So another good reminder.
He really was adamant that the raw, the messy, the real, that's what's relatable, and that you'll get so much better engagement because your audience has an emotional attachment to you. So they're not, you're showcase your journey in a very authentic way, whether it be a home renovation or a weight loss journey.
I get sucked into the home renovations. There's one that I'm watching right now. Like, I feel like I know these people. They're just posting consistently. That's the other key. You've got to do it consistently.
But the little nugget that I really took away was he said that a lot of people are kind of side gigging like their passion or their hobby, and they're telling that journey, and that's where they're getting all their engagement. It's not even their main gig. Yeah. It's not even their main business. So it would be like, you go off and you start this whole project on, I don't know, on something that's really, a hobby for you or a journey that you're on, and all of a sudden people are following us, not because we're interior designers, but because they've really become engaged with that journey. And I thought that was really important because maybe it's not your main gig
but I will say,
but it will help your career.
I always feel like at the end of the day, whatever you're passionate about is that's why they say, be you, be yourself, be true to what that passion is. And those are the people that are successful.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew Cordell. He really is the one who kind of really started it and reached out to these friends and said, I think this would be a great idea. And he was really cool. He talked a lot about money. Yeah. And that was his big topic. And
I'm sorry, but when you cuss on stage and you drop the F-bomb regularly, I just love it. I thought I made him so funny, and I just got a kick out of him with his backwards baseball hat and his cool ass sneakers, and he was a cool dude.
He was a cool dude.
Yeah.
But he said, and this is another thing, a lot of things that he said are still resonating.
We're working on these for 2024.
Yes, nobody cares more about your money than you do. So as an entrepreneur, it's important to increase your financial IQ. I mean, we all think we know a lot about money, but there's so much to learn. And
he was saying that business owners, they love to talk about their business, right? Love to talk all about their business, but they don't actually talk about money. And that's the most important thing, really. I mean, in terms of succeeding. And he told the story of, he interviews tons and tons of famous people, and he's very focused. He does a lot with athletes. And he was talking to Mike Tyson. And did you know that Mike Tyson made over $1 billion during the course of his boxing career, but yet he filed for bankruptcy? And you've heard that over and over again with other actors and famous people, but he said it's just so important to not only, I mean, your business, right? You can talk about your business all day long, or how we approach clients and how we market and how we're on social media, but do we really know our balance sheet? Do we really sit and analyze our financials? Do we, when our CPA talks to us, do we glaze over, or do we understand what he's saying to us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a really good points.
Yes. And one of the other things that he said just escaped my brain.
He talked a lot about like growing. So the same rules and the same kind of how you approach your business to make $1 million is not the same course of action when you want to get to 50 million. So you've got
I know what it was.
You know, your financial IQ has to grow.
The thing that he talked about with money was that you need to keep moving it.
Yes.
And that's why it's called currency, because it's like a current. Mm-hmm. And if you let money just sit in an account, it's not going to work for you. That's a whole nother deal. Mm-hmm. But it really made you think about a lot of these things.
Yeah. So if you look him up, Andrew Cordell, he does a lot of mastermind programs on money.
Yeah. CORDLE. And he has a podcast called Money Is.
Yes. It would be well worth your while if you're trying to really get to that next level to listen to him. It was fascinating. He talked about the top 5 ways, tax credit or ways to avoid, not avoid, but
he gave
be smart with taxes. I mean,
gave examples of the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts. That story is incredible.
Yep.
To see how generational wealth was a big topic too. So anyway, so good,
much,
you guys,
so much, but it really, we took in all of this inspiration and motivation, and it just made us want to be better in 2024, bigger and better, but also to really always remember, we want to be the $1 billion like Jesse's dad. We want to have that spiritual, that soulful business. And
so the $500 million here and the $500 million here would be perfect.
Yes, it would be perfect. And so, we're really inspired to just grow our business. We've never set out to be the best, richest, most famous interior designers in the United States. That we talked about that when we first joined together 18 years ago. That was not our intention. We wanted to be able to pay our bills and go on great vacations and have great family life,
work-life balance,
and do really, really good work and get better every single year. And so I think that going to events that are not in your industry sometimes are the most inspiring events that you can go to.
Yeah. And take time to work on your business, not just in your business, because it's a hamster wheel. Mm-hmm. And the next thing you know, 5 years have gone by, and what have you did? And that was the one thing. We'll just stuck this. Then we have to stop. But the big ass calendar that Jesse has, it's got 365 days a year on it. And I think it's
laminate. It's upstairs. We haven't. It just arrived.
Yeah. So what he's saying is, if you want to do a couple big things a year, put them on that calendar. So, for example, he takes his kids separately on a trip. And so he puts those on the calendar. So if, somebody says to him, what are you doing on Saturday the 20th? He'll be like, oh, I'm not available. I'm going with my kid. Mm-hmm. So put those things on the calendar, and then you kind of makes you do them.
Yeah. Well, if you don't plan for your goals, plan your goals, you'll never reach them. And that's his big point. He puts he'll have the sticky notes that come with the big ass calendar in different colors. So he'll have like his speaking engagements are in one color, his endurance events are in one color, his travel with his kids is in one color. And so because it's one big poster of the entire year, he can very quickly see if he's out of balance or he's doing too much, first quarter, or he
it's
needs
so smart and so simple.
It's so smart, but it's also just about planning. If you don't, people always say to us, gosh, you guys travel a lot. How do you do what you do? We plan it. I mean,
if you don't put it on the calendar, you're not going to go.
We just do it. I mean, if you, the time flies, people, and you got to plan ahead. So if you don't plan it, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
So good. And it travels around. I mean, I think I looked at the next couple. I think they're on the West Coast. But if you're interested in,
they already have the 2024 schedule up?
They have 3 of them right now for 2024.
Oh, cool.
And I want to say LA. I can't remember. They're on the West Coast.
Aspire Tour.
It's called Aspire Tour. Check it out. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Quote time. Funny quote. This is from My Therapist Says on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm old. I'm just saying that my dinner time and bedtime are getting dangerously close to each other. So true.
Mike said to me last night, it's 7:30. Can I go to bed? I was like,
Or we'll go,
honey, whatever you want.
Is it too early? Like, it's just like 7 o'clock. Is it too early? Yeah, it's too early. Okay.
Yeah. We went to dinner the other night at like 5:30. We went out. Who cares? Okay. Serious quote. Ready? Your brain is shaped by the foods you eat, the books you read, the chances you take, the experiences you have, the thoughts in your head, the environment you are in, and the people you spend time with.
So true.
Right? That's a whole lot to consider with how you are shaped, not just your brain, but as a person.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
It shapes you for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
So this is coming out. This episode is coming out on January 2nd,
maybe
January
6th.
6th, something like that. So stay tuned, because a few weeks after this releases, we have a big surprise for you guys. And we will be, do you want to announce that at the next episode, maybe? What's coming down the pike for us? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we got some new stuff for you guys in this year, 2024.
We're very excited.
Yeah,
about
very
it.
excited. So go forth into the world and do big things, people. And Happy New Year.
Yes, and share this episode with your friends that
Yeah.
need to hear about it, because
Yeah,
we all
sure.
need reminders for sure.
Yes.
Mhm.
And don't forget, check us out, Kandrac-Kole.com. We are still full service interior designers, even though we do this podcast. So no matter where you are in the country, if you are needing to beautify your home and your life, give us a call.
And if somebody wants to subscribe to our newsletter, is there just a little thing on our website? I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah,
It says
it's down at the
subscribe.
bottom.
Yeah, so we send out a newsletter once every 2 weeks. We're usually announcing the podcast and then some other little tidbits, before and after photos, and just some other cool stuff.
Things
so
we love.
if you want to
Mhm.
be a part of that, sign up.
Sign up, bottom left of our homepage. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly for a new episode every other Friday as they continue to explore the nuances of the interior design business, with the goal of informing, inspiring, and entertaining their listeners. See their work at Kandrac-Kole.com and engage with them on Facebook and Instagram at Kandrac Kole.